I hope that looked cool. I guess we'll see. When I say EDM, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Perhaps it's a grand summer festival somewhere in Southern California with bikini babes, guys wearing backwards hats and polos and khakis, overpriced drinks. Or maybe you think of a dark, underground, gritty club, sweaty, people are doing drugs in the corner, it's 4 a.m., you want to go home, but you can't find your friend, you're trying to find your friend, you're texting your friend, they're not replying. Or maybe you look at those boys on stage and you thought to yourself, well, what if they kissed? What if they made out? Well, some people did actually think that, and myself included at one point in my life, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the EDM fandom. I hope you enjoy my outfit I put together for you guys. I did at one point get rid of a lot of my old rave clothes, so this is what I could muster up. I'm going to take these glasses off though because they're kind of starting to hurt my ears, so yeah. If you're thinking to yourself, what, there was an EDM fandom? Yes, there was. There was an EDM fandom. I guess there still technically is, but it's not really on the level that it was maybe around like 10 years ago. Yeah, I was a part of it. It's kind of like a weird, kind of very strange, niche, deep cut era of my life. I've been kind of finding myself like going back to that time period of my life, and well, I just wanted to talk about it because it's really, like, looking back on it, it was really weird. Really quickly, before we get into it, this video is kind of just me fucking around. I understand that the roots and the history of dance music are quite deep and inherently political, and I don't want to do that a disservice, so I just want to put it out there. This video is about me fucking around. It's me fucking around talking about when I was weird in high school. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. So I guess just to give a quick history about my experience with electronic dance music. The first ever song in my life that I remember listening to and actually like absorbing as like music and something that actually touched me a little bit was Deadmau5's and Cascade's I Remember. Who remembers? I remember. Something about it, it just like awoke me. It just touched my soul. I couldn't have been older than 7, I think. From that point forward, I always kind of found myself really liking that kind of music. Deadmau5, I think, was the first introduction into that. Who else? The Bloody Beetroots, Skrillex. Come on, the Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites EP. Oh my god, I remember my sister playing that in the car when I was 10, 11, and I was like, whoa, what is happening? This is the guy from that one emo band that my sister likes? What? And I want to say throughout most of high school, middle school and high school, I was very into it. A little bit later down the line, I got a Tumblr account, and I was very into fandom culture, in case that isn't incredibly obvious by my other videos that I've made. I stumbled upon a fandom for DJs, for EDM producers, and I very quickly got involved in it, and I was into it. That's kind of my brief history with it. Hold on. Firstly, let's talk about what the EDM fandom even was. Okay, let's go into that first. There is obviously an EDM fan base. There are fans of EDM. Not particularly what I'm talking about in this situation. I'm talking about a very specific thing that's part of a very specific group of DJs that was during a very specific period in time. It was a very specific thing. I think this post that I found on the blog EDM Heritage Posts on Tumblr explains it quite well. So I'll just put it up on the screen right here. Yeah. So that's essentially what the EDM fandom was. It was a subsect of people who liked EDM and wanted to incorporate an aspect of parasocial fandom behavior to it. I would say the EDM fandom was pretty similar to another music-based fandom that was popular around the same time, the bandom, which was more of an emo thing, more of like a Warped Tour kind of vibe, you know, the Holy Trinity, MCR, Panic at the Disco, and Fall Out Boy. I don't understand why MCR got grouped in with those other bands. I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense to me. And then you also had like the more like post-hardcore side of it, Bring Me the Horizon, Of Mice and Men, Pierce the Veil, stuff like that. I would say the EDM fandom was pretty similar in that way. It was about the music, but it was more so about the actual musicians most of the time. I would say the EDM fandom, on the research that I did, kind of started becoming a thing like in 2012, which kind of lines up with fandom culture at the time. I guess that kind of goes into my next point, or my next talking point. Why was it even a thing? Because you look at the fans of EDM, or like the people that you perceive to be fans of EDM, and you kind of think extroverts, socialites, people who like to party. Usually not the kind of people who were into fandom culture. Kind of unlike the bandom, right? Because a lot of people in the bandom were like emo nerds and who were like kind of antisocial, and or like self-proclaimed antisocial people who spent all their time on the internet, you know, like the weirdos, you know? So the bandom makes more sense. The EDM fandom, though, interesting. I have a couple points that I think line up that kind of paint a picture as to why this started in the first place. And I think it's more of just like a bunch of coincidental things happening at the exact same time. First, like I said, or like I might have mentioned, Tumblr culture was huge at this point in time. Like, there was a fandom for pretty much anything and anyone, really. It was very easy to start a fandom about anything at that time in Tumblr. Another reason that I was thinking about that actually makes a lot of sense the more that I think about it, EDM has a very epic quality to it. A lot of the songs are very large in scope, I guess, very high intensity, high emotionality, fast paced. Most of the time, there's not really a lot of lyrics, or there's no lyrics at all. It makes for perfect drawing music, specifically drawing music in terms of like world building, right? In my experience, listening to EDM, when I would listen to it, I would think of like very epic, high energy scenarios and worlds in my mind, and it was just perfect for that kind of thing. And I think because of that, it drew in a lot of artists. And a lot of artists were very into fandom. It just lends itself to the kind of people making fan art to listen to it. This is going to lead into my next point. When you're listening to a crazy epic song and you're like, oh, I wonder who made this song. You look it up. Oh my God. He's a skinny, young, white man. Perfect for shipping. That's one of probably the main reasons why this fandom blossomed the way that it did. Skinny young white men. Okay? Like, if you look at the history of Tumblr fandoms, especially when it comes to shipping, come on, let's not be stupid here. That was a big draw. That was a big draw at the time. A lot of the DJs, producers that I'm going to mention fit that category perfectly. Another reason, I want to say maybe less so than the other reasons why this fandom came to even be a thing. EDM was incredibly culturally relevant about 10 years ago, not like way more than it is now. It was very novel. It was very much like the new thing, right? That, and also, we're going to go into it a little bit more once we start kind of name dropping these musicians. Back then, the focus kind of started to become less about individual DJs and more about like collectives or squads. Seeing those interactions between those people really lend itself to fandom culture, for fan fiction, for shipping, for all those kinds of things, fan art, and the like. So those are the main things. Those are the main reasons why I think it existed and why it prospered the way that it did, at least to me. Okay, next, I want to talk about some of the main players, some of the big names in this fandom. Like I had mentioned, skinny young white men. Let's keep that in mind. Let's keep that descriptor in mind, because once I go down this list, it'll all start making sense. Okay, I want to say the main character of the EDM fandom was no doubt 100% Porter Robinson. Okay, look at this guy. Look at him. He was perfect, dude. He was perfect for the role of the king of the EDM fandom. Okay, a little bit later on, in 2014, he had released his first like big thing. Worlds was huge. Okay, because it wasn't just EDM, man. It built a worlds per se. He was rolling with a lot of big names. He had just released a pretty major album. Plays Japan. That's another reason. He was really into Japan. And, well, he still is. And, yeah, it kind of lent himself to that. Okay, so next, I think one of the second main characters of this fandom was definitely Skrillex. He was probably, him and Deadmau5, who I'm also going to talk about right now, were definitely the two main things at that time that really catapulted EDM to, I think, a more younger audience, right? Because I mean, names like Cascade and Tiesto, they were a little bit older. They were a little bit more relevant, I want to say, like pre-2010s. And so Deadmau5 and Skrillex, well, Deadmau5 a little bit like in the later aughts, right? But Deadmau5 and Skrillex really catapulted, from my perspective, EDM into a little bit more like a younger audience, or a little bit more of a mainstream younger audience, if that makes sense. I mean, dude, if you were on the internet anytime when Scary Monsters and 90 Sprites had dropped, it was everywhere, dude. Either you loved it or you hated it. There was so much discourse about that. There was so much. Skrillex was getting a lot of hate at that time for that EP because it was, it was dubstep. Nobody had really heard dubstep outside of like the people who knew about it or the people who were making it. It wasn't a thing to the masses, right? And I want to say too, Skrillex definitely had like an impact fandom wise, I think, because of his association with emo music in the past. If you didn't know, he was the lead singer from First to Last, which was a pretty popular emo band in the 2000s. And I think a lot of people who were following him for that kind of like saw like Scary Monsters and 90 Sprites, and they were like, whoa, what the fuck? I noticed that there's a bit of a overlap between people who like dubstep and people who are into like emo and metal. It's kind of similar in like volatility, I suppose. He would later on down the line go on to create his own record label, Osla, this brand. He would also go on to partner up with Diplo to create Jack U, which was a pretty big, I don't want to talk about Diplo, man. I don't want to talk about Diplo. I'm just going to say this now. I'm not going to mention Diplo that much in this video because Diplo. But I have to talk about Jack U because it was a pretty big part of like the peak / later years of like EDM culture. It was a pretty big pillar in it. But yeah, we will talk about that a little bit later. The next, well, I guess I'll talk about Deadmau5. This guy was also a little bit more on like the internet weirdo kind of side of EDM, right? Like he's very into gaming. He was very into Nyan Cat at one point. He was friends with Skrillex at one point. I don't believe they're associates anymore. I don't know if they're friends now. I think they're just cordial now, but at one point they were friends. Deadmau5 did actually help Skrillex get kind of into the mainstream because Deadmau5 had kind of already created a name for himself at that point. What song was Skrillex credited on? Raise Your Weapon, I think. Yeah, Deadmau5. He was a pretty polarizing character. We'll get into that a little bit later. There's a kind of reason, yeah, we'll get into that later. Next, we're gonna get into Madion. This guy was my personal favorite. I've talked about it before. I love Madion. Adventure. Almost just as influential as Worlds, in my opinion. Maybe not as commercially successful as Worlds, but had a very similar vibe to it. Very good album. Again, really built like this world that really lent itself to like fandom culture. Before Adventure, he got into the mainstream essentially by this viral video pop culture, his pop culture mashup video that got a bajillion trillion million views. I wanted a launch pad so bad because of that video, because he just made it look so easy. Like, just it looked so cool. I believe there's like an edit, like a pop culture edit that was really popular that circulated around on Tumblr. It was like was it like a Disney edit? I'm trying to remember. He was really good friends with Porter Robinson. He still is good friends with Porter Robinson. He was pretty good friends with, I want to say, all of the people I mentioned for the most part. Next, we have Zed. On my notes, I just have a question mark. His music was really popular. He was friends with Porter Robinson and Madion. But other than that, he was kind of just like, I guess like the token like golden retriever of the fandom. Like just this like sunshine and rainbows guy, you know, like he was just happy all the time and he never caused any problems, and he, you know, very unsubstantial. He didn't really, in my opinion, in terms of fandom, okay, I'm not talking about his music, I'm just saying in terms of fandom, he didn't really contribute a whole lot, in my opinion, you know. I'm sorry. I think I also have this kind of opinion about him because every time I think about Zed, I think about that fucking tweet that he made when Joe Biden got elected in 2020. Dude, that probably one of the worst aged tweets ever, in my opinion. Like, goddamn, dude. And the fact that he hasn't deleted it is crazy. We have Dylan Francis. Also, really weird, in my opinion, his specific involvement with the fandom. It's kind of interesting because this guy was like more like on the like dude bro side of EDM, right? Like he made a lot of like trap kind of stuff, trap adjacent things. I think it was just because he was funny. I think that's why he lent himself to the fandom so well. He was like kind of the comedic relief character, right? He was very zany. His sense of humor was very, very funny at the time. I think some of his stuff still lands, but that was his thing. He was very online, he was very funny, and he was a skinny white guy. He had tattoos too, so I guess that added some depth to it. Okay, next, I want to talk about more minor characters in the fandom. These are characters that I guess would be kind of outside of like the main squad, per se. What we just talked about, that was like the main squad. Daft Punk. Okay, I was gonna put Daft Punk in the main characters section, but I don't know. Daft Punk is like kind of an anomaly in my opinion as to how they ended up in the EDM fandom. I kind of understand, like I know why, but it is just kind of strange to me. I put them in minor characters because they kind of had their own fan base at this point. I mean, Daft Punk has been around for over a couple decades at this point when this fandom was really starting to come into popularity. They had already amassed their own separate fan base, and also they don't really make like EDM. I would say at that point in time, Daft Punk was more making pop music than like EDM, right? But they're two masked men, and that's enough for people to throw them into a fandom, okay? Yeah, you're gonna find them in fan art, definitely, for sure, but it didn't feel right putting them in like the main squad because I didn't really feel like they were a part of the squad. Next, we have Justice, two gay looking dudes. Kind of the same level as Daft Punk. They were already popular and had amassed their own fan base before the start of the fandom. They kind of just have their own thing going on, you know. You'll see they come up in posts every now and again. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about Knife Party. Knife Party, they're one of my personal favorites. Music wise, I love Knife Party. Rob Swire was kind of already kind of popular at this point. He's one of the people from Knife Party. He was in Pendulum. He was like the lead singer of Pendulum, and they had already amassed their own fan base. They were already pretty popular. They did a lot of drum and bass stuff. They started Knife Party actually as a joke, and then it ended up actually being really fucking popular. And so they kind of just kept rolling with it. That's kind of like essentially what happened. But yeah, they don't really come up as much as you would expect in the fandom. I'm not really sure why. Personally, I really like them, so that's why I added them in. So the next three people I'm gonna talk about are what I would consider more of like the fringe group, or like the more like rated R group, if that makes sense. They weren't particularly a part of like the main fandom, but they had a place in my heart, so I'm gonna talk about them. I'm gonna talk about Ghastly, Getter, and Miha. Ghastly and Miha, they had collabed together for a song for Osla that I really liked. They amassed a good chunk of their popularity from rolling with Skrillex and The Gang. They didn't really have that much of like a fandom following, like a fan fiction fandom following, but they had a following for me. I was especially a big fan of Miha. I thought she was really cool. She was kind of like the token girl in this like whole group, I want to say. It gets a little fuzzy when we talk about like the outside part of it. She did appear in a lot of skits that we'll talk about later. I want to talk about Getter next. Getter is interesting. He does not really come up in the fandom space that much at all, almost. In my eyes, he kind of has a spot. I think he gets a spot. I think he deserves a spot. He was very online. He was friends with a lot of popular Viners, Nicoletti, and read her Torah, Evan Breen, Cody Co. He also had some of the funniest fucking vlogs. Oh my god, some of the funniest vlogs that he would put on his YouTube channel that I thought they were like the funniest thing in the entire world.
Megatron's a bitch, low key. We're at Universal Studios, guys. Chug.
Yeah, he was definitely more on like the dude bro kind of side of things, right? Not like so much more like the soft ooh boy side of the fandom. He was a little bit detached from that. I think that's it. I think that's the only people I really want to talk about. Okay, so if you heard me try to connect all the dots between all of these DJs and you kind of thought to yourself a little bit like, well, this all seems like kind of random and like a little forced, you would be right. It kind of was. It's really weird that this even existed in the first place. And there's this big disconnect between the people who were actually going to these raves and the people who were in this fandom. It's really interesting actually, because a lot of these people who were in the fandom at the time, myself included, were minors, people who were too young to go to the majority of these raves. It kind of creates this weird parasocialness that is just so disconnected from like the actual culture of EDM at the time. See, at this point in time, going to these festivals was kind of an excuse to just fucking get wasted. And I don't want to sound mean when I say that. There was this big influx of like spring breakers-esque partying that was happening around this time. EDM was becoming a more and more normie, straight kind of thing. And like I said, a lot of these people who were going to these raves were definitely not really in the fandom, you know? I don't know, it just created this culture that just existed in pretty much a vacuum. In my experience, I was kind of somewhere in the middle. For some god unknown reason, there was a decent amount of raves that were all ages. I was 12 when I went to my first rave. I did the majority of my raving when I was between the ages of 13 and 17. Who was letting me into these things? Who was driving us? Who was like what? I think a lot of it, if I'm being completely honest, a lot of it was just like, oh, I'm spending the night at my friend's house, and then we would just get a ride to a rave. How did I not get abducted? I don't know. It's kind of scary to think about, but that's how I was rolling back then. So I was kind of somewhere in the middle where I was actually going to a lot of these raves, but I was also really into fandom culture. And I was kind of like living the best of both worlds. And I don't want to say that like I'm the only person who was probably like this. Like I'm sure there were like other people who were obviously in the fandom that were also going to raves, but I don't know, it's just one of those things that's just so interesting about fandom culture to me, where it's like, this is just like so different than like what was actually happening in the real world, you know? I don't know, it's just interesting. Another thing that I want to bring up that just kind of ties into this is the HARDFEST skits that were done around this time period. But I guess before I get deeper into it, HARDFEST, Hard Summer, they were basically this company. They do a lot of raves, they do a lot of festivals. A lot of these festivals were 21 and up, so I couldn't go. The only exposure I was able to get from those festivals was from those skits and from like people vlogging their experience, pretty much. So it's just interesting. My ears. Oh no. So yeah, it just kind of added to this weird parasocialness of it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It was just such a weird thing. I guess I can play some of the HARDFEST skits here.
Shave it, then eat it. Mmm, yummy.
Comes in 4 different flavors.
Get out of here, I'm about to rip that off. What's good?
Okay.
What's good?
Nothing's good. I will go. But if you see Tommy or Basura,
I'm over you.
It's trash in Spanish.
Bye.
Okay.
No! I want to be the big spoon. That's it. Spoon you more like fuck you.
It was pretty random sauce humor. There was also in one of the skits, there was also like kind of a small nod to the fandom.
You're so beautiful and talented and amazing. I wish I was just like you.
Bro, are you hitting on me? Cause I'm soups down.
So this like fandom was kind of culturally relevant enough to be picked up by the actual producers themselves. I know Deadmau5, I think, had actually made a tweet about how he was uncomfortable with being shipped with Skrillex because Skrillmouse, yeah, I was a shipper. I was a Skrillmouse shipper. What are you gonna do about it? You gonna shoot me? You gonna execute me publicly? Yeah, okay, fine. I admit it. I have fan art. I have made fan art. Oh yeah, I guess I can talk about some of the ships. So we have the Skrillmouse, which was a big one. That one was a little bit more like angsty and like, you know, because they had like a falling out and like there was like tension and like it was kind of like ooh. Oh, another one was Porter Robinson and Maddion. That was a big one. I also shipped that one. Daft Punk was obviously a ship. They shipped, you know, each other. I don't know. You know what, girl? Hold on. Archive of our own. What do they have to say? AO3. EDM RPF fandom? Let's see, what is that? Whoa! What? Forte is in this one? That's kind of new. That's a little new. People are shipping Skrillex and Fred again? Okay, that's interesting. Marshmallow X sudden death. What? Oh, might save some of these for later. Yeah, a lot of Skrillmouse still. It's because there's a lot of angst in that relationship, which we will get into. My Chemical Romance. Sonny Moore X Gerard Way. I'm bookmarking that for later. Just kidding. Just kidding. Oh my god. Okay, a lot of people shipping Marshmallow and Sudden Death, but in Chinese. That's all I'm gonna look up. There was one fan fiction I remember reading. I think there was a poly fan fiction. Shipping them all as like a polyamorous squad was pretty popular too. Like Maddion, Zed, Porter Robinson. I'm trying to remember what the fan fiction was. It was a fluff one. Anyways, did I ever make my own fan fiction? No, I didn't. Not like in writing. I wasn't really a big fan fiction writer. I just kind of imagined scenarios in my head. Now this is just me reminiscing. This whole video is just me reminiscing. I'm sorry if there's not like a big structure to this, okay? I'm just yapping. Deadmau5 also had a segment on his YouTube channel called Coffee with Deadmau5, I think is what it was called. Coffee Run. Yes, so Coffee Run was this thing that Deadmau5 would do where he would kind of just hang out and chill, drive in his fucking Ferrari with various producers, and they would just shoot the shit and chat. It was very casual. Some of the more notable ones he did a coffee run with Getter. He did a coffee run with Zed, which is actually kind of crazy because they had beef at one point. That was a small like little thing he did for a little bit. Also gave some people some content to work with, right? I guess I can mention now the drama. Like I had mentioned, Skrillex and deadmau5 used to be friends. They were on good terms for a while until a little project called Jack U, which I had already mentioned, started. In 2015, Skrillex, Diplo, and Justin Bieber made a song together. They made a song together. It was a radio hit. Essentially, this whole album was pretty much Skrillex's big foray into like the super mainstream, right? He collabed with Justin Bieber. It was like a thing. deadmau5 didn't really respect that or like that. If you know anything about Joel, I'll call him Joel, it was slash kind of is known for being quite straightforward and blunt about his opinions on certain things. Joel didn't like that Skrillex had pretty much sold out to like the super mainstream, teaming up with this pop star who at the time hating on Justin Bieber was pretty popular. That 2015, yeah, around that point is kind of when he was starting to get into like his bad boy era. So they would go get into Twitter beef in 2015 quite a bit. Skrillex called deadmau5 an asshole. deadmau5 called Skrillex a sellout. It was a big thing. They have not really fucked with each other since. I can kind of understand both sides of the argument here. I mean, I guess depending on how you look at it, you can either see it as deadmau5 just being this old grouch who doesn't want to move forward, who wants to keep doing the same shit forever, and Skrillex being someone who wants to kind of push the mainstream, push boundaries, kind of explore new genres of music, and you know, doesn't matter who or what genre. Like, I want to explore new things, I want to do new things. Or you can see it as, again, Skrillex being a big sellout and kind of betraying his emo fan base, his emo scene adjacent fan base for the mainstream, and deadmau5 being true to himself and not taking anyone's bullshit and just doing his own thing. And I can kind of respect both for that. I like both of them. I have fond memories with both of their music, so you know, it was kind of sad to see them fight on Twitter. So that was like one beef. At this time, deadmau5 was really like in his like asshole era. He was calling out DJs and producers for all kinds of shit. He was no stranger to controversy. The girls were fighting. And a lot of it was just kind of deadmau5 calling people out on Twitter. I don't know. I kind of have to respect that. That was one thing that kind of led to the kind of end of the fandom, but we will get there when we get there. So we've talked a bit about the EDM fandom, some drama, some things like that. But you're thinking, well, Hannah, you said you were a part of this, right? Like, are you just gonna sit here and just read a fucking Wikipedia article at us all day? Or are we gonna look at are we actually gonna see some EDM fandom blogging in action? Well, if you thought that, I have a surprise for you guys. I still have my EDM blog up, and I went through it, and that's the footage that you're about to see next, is me going and looking at the things that I thought when I was 16 years old. So here you go. Enjoy. Cut. Let's see how long I keep this hat on before I get too hot and I rip it off. This is my EDM blog. I was originally planning on like keeping it like anonymous, but then I was like, oh, what's the point in that? Like, I don't post on this anymore. So here it is. This is my blog, Groovy Starman. It's an Earthbound reference, okay? Ignore the Tumblr ads, okay? I'm sorry. Hi, my name's Hannah, and I like EDM, space aliens, and colorful things. I ran this blog, I want to say like for less than a year. It was probably like it was definitely between 2016 and 2017 that I had this blog. Yeah, so this is kind of like my own version or my own kind of recollection of what the EDM fandom was. This was my experience with it. This is like a deep cut, okay? I never thought I would be like publicly sharing this with people, but here I am, you know, so we'll get into it. All right, so we're just taking a quick look at my archive. I just wanted to see what when I first started posting on this blog. My first post was March 15th, 2016. That was my first post here. So this blog was also like kind of like partly an aesthetic blog. It was mostly EDM leaning, but it did have some glow blog tendencies. I did run a glow blog also in high school. I wonder if it's still up actually. I'll have to look at that later. But anyways, this had some glow blog tendencies, but it was mostly EDM fandom related stuff. This is the top of my blog. My final post, yo, how much dirt you gotta throw in the ocean to make a new country. We have this like Daft Punk aesthetic post, Human After All. This is when they released Shelter, which was huge in the EDM fandom world. Okay, a collab between Porter Robinson and Madeon, pretty crazy, and it had anime aesthetics, pretty big deal. So this is just him talking about that, and then I put in the tags, I love him. I was a big Madeon stan. I was big into the Madeon and Skrillex side of the fandom. Okay, here we go. I reblogged a picture of Zed. I was such a fake Zed fan. Look at what I put in the cutie pie. I didn't really rock with Zed like that. I don't know. I was kind of a fake fan. I like a couple of his songs, but like I wasn't really that into him. We have like some cyberpunk fan art. I was very into the cyberpunk thing. Very, very deep into it. Yeah, it was dude, Shelter was a big deal. I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but I did see them perform Shelter at ACL in 2016, and that was pretty cool. Except like, dude, freaking people who go to festivals, like so many people just go to festivals just to go to festivals, which is why I don't really find myself wanting to go to festivals, because they're not really going for the music anymore. Because tell me why, I'm in the middle of watching this amazing, beautiful, glorious set by these two beautiful white men here, and these guys who are definitely UT Austin like frat guys standing directly behind me, okay? And I'm like kind of in the crowd. I'm not in the back. I'm kind of in the crowd. And this is like a reenactment of their loud ass conversation they were having behind me. Yeah, bro, like you see Mrs. So-and-so's assignment? Bro, that shit's fucking whack, man. Yeah, dog. Dude, like what are you doing later tonight? You're gonna go hang out with Melissa? Yeah, bro, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know if I'm into her like that, bro. Literally loud as fuck behind me. Okay, this was a problem before COVID. I mean, the problem has been worse since COVID, but I just want to say people being rude at concerts it's not a completely new thing, okay? And I just have to put that out there. If you're gonna go to a show and you're gonna talk, go to the back, bro. And even then, like, why are you there? I saw the Shelter cover when I was still half asleep, and I thought Porter and Hugo were holding hands. I thought that too. Genuinely, I thought that. Wild. Oh, here we go. We have this Getter vlog, or GIF, I mean. I'll talk about the Getter vlogs. I don't know if I already have. Look at this, bro. Freaking gnarly, dude. Freaking gnarly. Ooh, look at this. Whoa. Trippy. Sleazeburger, yo, who remembers Sleazeburger on Tumblr, bro? Damn, she was the blueprint, man. Oh, is this Sean Wasabi? It is Sean Wasabi. Oh my god, who remembers, bro? Hold on, let's see. Remember this shit, bro? Okay, that's enough. That's enough before I don't want to get in trouble. Oh, here we go. We have some Miha posting. Look at her. Dude, this like freaking like sea punk blue hair. Oh my god. I just thought it was so cool. I wanted her hair so bad with the blunt bangs. She was so cool. She still is. I still think she's cool. Ooh, who's this? Okay, Madeon and DJ Snake. Oh my god. That's crazy. I literally just saw DJ Snake like a few days ago. Wow, that's wild. That's wild. And that show, oh man, pool club raves are something else, man. They're a little wild. Aye. Anyone else lose their youth to depression? I was posting this when I was 16, dog. Girl, I was still in my youth. Oh, I like that. Look at that. So moody. You know, I will say I still can go for a nice glow picture. they're very nice to look at, you know. Oh, here we go. We have some Skrillex gifs, and I put cute patoot. I mean, I guess I'm just gonna move on. Sorry you have to see that, guys. Oh my gosh, Kill the Noise is coming to my town in June. Ah, I'm in need for a function. I haven't been to one since January. So, I was 16. I was party girl posting, I guess. I don't think I ever ended up seeing Kill the Noise. I think that show ended up being 18 plus. I don't remember. For some reason, I don't think I ever ended up seeing him. Oh, here we go. Dude, Spring Breakers? Bro. I don't know how I feel about Spring Breakers at this point in time in my life. I rewatched it not too long ago, and I still don't know if I like that movie or not. I have mixed feelings about it. But I will say it was very heavily influential in my aesthetic tastes, and I do quite enjoy these screen caps. Ooh, look, I like that one. I like that one. It just looks like a good tacky Florida pool, man. Here we go. We got a nice old Twitter screen cap. Porter, you're at 420k followers. Dude, fucking grab a Bibbler and fucking light that shit up. Dude, fucking get that good, you know? Back then, it's not just in the EDM fan space, but also just on the internet in general, there was like much more of a emphasis on like friend groups, you know? You got like Team 10, the Vlog Squad, you know, stuff like that. Like it was much more like about like little cliques and like groups than it was about like individual people, which I kind of miss actually a little bit more fun that way. But yeah, so like this is just an example of them just kind of like fucking around, especially on Twitter. They would do it a lot, and it's not really the kind of things that you really see that much anymore from most of them, really. Here we go. Dinner's drinking a beer. Oh, okay, here we go. Here we go. We have some lyric. Remember these, bro? Remember these? It might not be the right time. What song is this? Oh, Something Between Us by Daft Punk. It might not be the right time. I might not be the right one. What the fuck is this? Chill anime beats. Share Vine. Oh, it was a Vine. Huh. It's like a broken link. It's kind of interesting. Whoa, look at this. Look at this. There's a lot happening here. Porter signaling Zed, a jealous-looking Hugo, a cute Sunny, and Alvin making quite the interesting facial expression. Oh, here we go. We got some Joyride. What happened to Joyride? Where is he? What happened to him? He just like fell off the face of the planet. He made some good bass house. Oh, look at this. We have Ghastly and Madion. Look at that. That Osla shirt. Oh, dude. I used to have this obnoxious green hoodie, not green, orange hoodie that I spray painted the Osla, however you say it, logo onto. I made my own stencil and I literally spray painted it onto the back of the hoodie. I have a picture of it. I'll post it now because I couldn't afford actual merch from fucking Osla for so long because that shit was expensive, bro. Oh, here we go. More Dylan Francis. It's so funny that he got like wrapped up into like the fandom the more I think about it, because he was just really like just some guy. He just had like a good sense of humor. Oh my god, look at this, dude. Trance Bowser Jr. made this. EDM Squad Pokemon Teams. Okay, let's see. We have Zed, Swampert, Scyther, Frostlass, Ampharos. Oh fuck, I forgot this guy's name. And then the Goop Dragon thing. I guess I can kind of see this. Okay, what about Dylan Francis? What? I don't know. I don't really understand why. What's their name? I don't remember the name of this one. This one doesn't really make a lot of sense. Or Duo. And why is this one shiny? The names are on the bottom. Can I read? Apparently not. Musharna? I don't get that. I don't really get that. Okay, Porter Robinson. Here we go. Can I just make a statement? I feel he looks kind of funny on my projector. His face is like kind of distorted. Porter Robinson looks younger now than he did like 10 years ago. Like, I just want to point that out. Like, it's kind of funny. Okay, we have Jolteon, Altaria Sceptile, Weevil Shiny. I don't know why they're adding Shiny into here. I guess it's just for aesthetic purposes. Gardevoir and Magmar. I don't think I understand Magmar. Everything else I can kind of understand. Okay, Madion. This one is very important to me. Cyndaquil, Melodic, Rotom, Roserade, Sylveon, Shiny, and Joltik. I remember I think I did get excited about seeing Sylveon because at the time Sylveon was my favorite Pokemon. Joltik, I would trade that out with something else. You know, I could see Madeon having Smeargle. It's just something about it. I would trade Joltik for Smeargle just to kind of make this more of like a softer team, you know? Okay, Skrillex. Duat, Zabriska, Exploud, Espeon. Oh, Noibat, I missed Noibat. Espeon, Shiny, and Mawile. Actually, I can. This one's pretty good. This makes a lot of sense. This makes a lot of sense because it has that like emo kind of tinge to it. You know that Skrillex has because of his emo past, right? Okay, Deadmau5, Raticate, Emboar, Shiny, Magnezone, Coughing, Salamence, Porygon 2. I feel like I would switch it out for the OG Porygon personally, but that's just me. But everything else I can see. I don't. Eradicate, that's pretty good. And Embo, yeah, I can see that. I don't know about Coughing. Is it because he smokes? Is that why they added that? Did he smoke? I'm trying to remember. Okay, overall pretty good. I would say Zed and Dylan Francis. I guess maybe because I'm not as familiar with them, I don't really see that, but everything else makes sense. I would give Dylan Francis more of like a fun, like wacky team. I don't know. I feel like Dylan Francis is just kind of more, it's a little too tame for me. I think it's a little too tame for him. LMAO, since I can't see Miha tonight, I'm just getting drunk in my room alone, partying it up to Dylan Francis's and Nightmares Need You. Woo! Hashtag Miha, hashtag Osla, hashtag LMAO. Yeah, because the Miha show that I wanted to go to was 18 plus. I wasn't able to go. I was very sad about that. Dude, oh my god, this is so funny. This is so 2016. How to handle crippling anxiety and depression. Normie method versus dank method. Set personal goals. Abuse alcohol and Xanax. Eat healthy. Eat pizza delivery. Exercise. Stay inside at all times. Force yourself to be social. Communicate only via memes. Discuss your problems with loved ones and take your illness seriously. Turn all your problems into jokes for strangers to laugh at on the internet. Right on. This is so pretty. Oh my god, I have such a soft spot for this like genre of art. You know, I've talked about it before, but like that like geometric cosmic futurism, minimalism, it's so comforting to me. Oh. Dude, look at this. Holy moly. Bruh. And you know what? If this was made today, I would have thought it was AI. But someone made this. Someone made this, dude. I have no choice but to kind of respect that, you know? Ooh, we got a Deadmau5 gif. I've seen Deadmau5 a couple times. I saw him once at ACL, and then I saw him again when he came to my city, and I don't really remember it that much because I blacked out, if I'm being honest. But it was fun from what I can remember. It was a good time. This is me posting a screenshot that I guess I pulled from Twitter, where Madeon has a drunk conversation with Deadmau5. I'm very drunk. I have a lot of love and empathy and admiration and comprehension for you. I sincerely hope you're well. Also, thank you for helping me live the life I dreamed of. When you approved that remix and talked about it, you changed my life. Wrought when it was needed. I want to give you a sincere drunken hug. If you want to be well, I want you to be well, and I'm grateful for you. Ha ha ha, no worries, dude. Drink water before you pass out. See, it was like they would just post things like this. It really fed into like the fandom aspect of it. There was a lot of love, dude. Some would say there was some peace, there was some love, unity, and respect. Whoa. Oh, that kind of scared me. And everyone losing their shit over his hair, chill. I think it looks cute. Yeah, people were giving him shade for his long hair, but I thought it was cool. I liked it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Honestly, I love Vaporwave. Not even ironically. Like, for real. I love the sounding, the aesthetic as a whole. I don't think that, okay. Let me drink my evening water on a pastel blue grid with half of a Michelangelo bust, while a glitched dolphin rides past wavy white block letters in the foreground that say something thoughtlessly unnecessary, yet just as meaningful. And that's on that, man. And I still kind of feel that way. And the Vaporwave videos are coming soon, trust me. They will come. On the bright side, they started selling tickets to Sun City Music Festival, so I'm gonna try my hardest to actually go this year. The event is 16 plus, so woo! Yeah, Sun City Music Festival was the EDM festival that happened in my city. It is not a thing anymore. It was apparently 16 plus, so I went. It was a good time. Who did I see in 2016? I think I saw Getter. No, Gasly? Was it Gasly or Getter that I saw? I think I saw Gasly. I saw Joyride. I think I saw Skrillex. I'm trying to remember. God, that was so long ago. I'll have to put the lineup. I'll put the flyer somewhere up on. Okay, here we go. We have this funny Skrillex video. What the fuck? Oh yeah, because Skrillex had a blog. Oh my god, Skrillex had a blog, dude. I didn't realize he had a blog. Hold on, let's link a new tab. My god, Skrillex had a blog, dude. When was the last post he made? 2019. He didn't post a lot on it, it seems. I'm sorry, now I'm getting totally sidetracked. Holy moly, wait, how far back does this go? 2012? Bruh. Hey guys, this is my first Tumblr post. I have something fun for you. Some little holiday treat. Click this link and explore. Have fun. Find some goodies for your stocking, tree, menorah, or whatever suits your vibe. Your pal, Sunny. This is probably, oh yeah, okay, so it just takes you to like his main page now. Okay. All right, voiceover Hannah here. I decided to use the Wayback Machine to see what the website actually looked like at the time. So yeah, a lot of this stuff just kind of leads back to his like merch store. But that in itself, I think, is a pretty cool time capsule. So I wanted to look at it. Look at those phones, man. Those freaking iPhone 4s. Those cases look kind of cool. I probably would have gotten one at the time if I had the money. Yeah. So lots of shirts. That goat shirt is really ugly. The Neon Cat one is pretty cool though. I would probably get that. But yeah, so more merch. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is really ugly. I'm sorry, but like in kind of like a I guess now it has a little bit of novelty to it, but yeah, the sleeveless hoodie, oh my god. I really like that page with the yin yang. I'm forgetting what that thing is, what that symbol is. Yeah, so pretty cool. Really cool that like he actually made effort into making like a website, you know? Who remembers websites? Oh, okay, flashing warning for this. That's a crazy graphic. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of this stuff, like I said, just kind of goes back into the merch store. Oh, this is my favorite. That was my favorite little page. That's really cool. I like that little graphic there. Dude, and yeah, he was literally giving away a mystery t-shirt with like just anybody who ordered anything, I think. What if you add yeah, must be ordered with, yeah, crazy. Oh yeah, and then this just kind of leads to his print page. Those first 3 prints are really funny. It's literally just album art, which is really hilarious. I like the concert posters though. The one on the bottom left was pretty cool. I like that one. Man. Yeah. That's just me clicking around on those things. Those don't lead to anything, or at least they didn't. They didn't at the time. Maybe they did at the time, but now they don't. Dude, and yeah, he was just giving people 20% off. Oh, they had that vinyl box set for only $85. Pretty crazy. That, I feel like that probably goes for way more now. It probably would go for way more now if this was made and that was made now. Yeah, I don't think I click on all of the links on this. Oh yeah, I love this. Look at that. Look at that. Stickers. I didn't click on the link because I just assumed it would just go back to his merch store, but yeah. Yeah, that's the website. Pretty cool. Who remembers websites? Raise your hand.
Don't raise your hand. Yeah.
Oh my god. Wait, hold on. Skrillex Tumblr deep dive? Side quest? Who is this? Is this him with Porter Robinson? Oh, it's him with Porter Robinson. Aw, look at that. Oh my god. They're so little. That is so fun. I am gonna okay, I'm gonna have some fun with this on my free time. Okay, anyways, the video I'm going back to now. This is probably one of the funniest videos on my blog. Here we go. Here we go.
What is that?
His fucking sound. Also, those moths are actually really terrifying. They only come out at night, and I always think that they're like bats. Oh, here we go. But I can't make the literally every single fucking blog I've ever had, anything I've ever had in my entire life, I have to make sure to post Gerard Way. Of course, here he is in I mean, it makes sense because he's in the Professional Griefers music video, one of the best music videos ever. Oh, here we go. We have some iconic pictures. Look at that, dude. Look at that, man. Gerard was really so real for collabing with deadmau5 as the band was like breaking up, or as the band was about to break up. My thing with EDM is that I was very much like kind of ashamed to like EDM because in the early 2010s it was very much like, I listen to real music, not people who push buttons. That was the thing. And so like the emo, I only listen to real music side of me was like, no, I can't let people know that I like this song because it's an EDM. I don't like EDM, but I did like EDM, but I was just very ashamed of it. So when this happened, I was like, oh my god, but like I had to be low-key about it until like a few years later when I was like, I don't care anymore. The Neon Cat shirt, bro, come on. He's got a beard. Here we go. Okay, but if you guys are a slut for adventure or worlds, that was a thing that we said back then. I'm such a slut for this. It's just the thing we said, I guess. If you guys are a slut for the adventure or worlds aesthetic, like seriously check out the game Hyper Light Drifter. It's so pretty. And that's true. The aesthetic is very similar. I post some GIFs here. It's very beautiful. This game is kind of hard. I never beat it, but I did really I really loved this like pixely aesthetic back then. We got some Skrillex doing the classic knee prayer pose. It was everywhere. It was inescapable. Why is he wearing shoes that look like they came out of a PS2, I say? Some normie. Electronic music sucks. They just play the same popular songs. Me. deadmau5 closes ASOT set at Ultra with Motorhead's Ace of Spades. Because he was so freaking badass and he was so contrarian. TBH, what Joel said about Zed is kind of true though. I'm not really a fan of his newer stuff at least, but he's still such a nice guy. Don't pick on him. He's literally sunshine. So yeah, this is in reference to, oh, here we go. This is gonna explain it. Okay, what's the drama? Zed made a song that sounds like a Flume song. Then he made a video for a song that looks like an M&M's commercial or something. I don't know what song this is about. I'd have to look into this. Then Diplo called him out, a little rudely. Wes, no. He fired back in a very aggressive way for Zed. Then deadmau5 joined in, saying all of Zed's songs are shit, but everyone loves him anyway, and bringing out that Sonny and Wes worked with Justin again. Oh yes, the Jack U drama, which I will definitely get into. And now everyone's going nuts. Yeah, so there was a Twitter beef back then, man. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this was when I had live blogged Ultra 2016, and this was a screen cap I took. This just so happened to be the highest quality picture of the stream I took, and it's deadmau5. Oh, Crystal Castles went to Ultra? I can't listen to them anymore, man. I really can't. Like, they've made some great music, but man, I just can't. Joel with Pendulum, yes. So they did do like a live collab, which was really crazy. That Bonfire Tarantula mashup was amazing, and the guitar made it a lot more interesting. Hashtag Ultra 2016. Rob Swire is the newest addition to my plethora of husbands. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way that I used to be, okay? I'm sorry. Dead Mouse versus Pendulum, my life is made. The sun made me feel like I was reborn again. OMG, there needs to be a drum and bass comeback, honestly, though. I'm so ready, Pendulum Ultra 2016. What the fuck is that ad? Dude, the fucking Tumblr ads, bro. Jesus Christ. Matching icons for you and the pal. Literally 2 minutes into the set, and I'm starting to understand why everyone doesn't like David Guetta. True. I never really cared much for him. Day 4, 40,000. Still way too excited for Pendulum set. I really loved Pendulum when I was younger. Like, I fucking loved them. Of course, only Joel would play Motorhead during a trance set at Ultra. Reblog and put in the tags every band artist you have seen live, including openers. Erasure. My first concert ever was Erasure, actually. I was 12. My mom took me. Madion, Skylar Spence, Alex Metric, Nero, Bass Nectar, Flosstradamus, Brandon Flowers, The Killers, separate because Brandon Flowers had he has like a solo project. Hosier. Oh, I didn't really see Hosier. I kind of saw Hosier at ACL. I'm kind of lying here just for clout. Drake, The Weeknd. Most of this was at ACL 2015. Deadmau5, The Strokes, The Foo Fighters, kind of. Carnage, Bring Me the Horizon, We Came as Romans, The Cure, Zed. Oh goodness, I can't remember the rest. Oh, I forgot to add Lady Gaga. I had definitely seen Lady Gaga before this. Skrillex DJing. Sorry, this speaker is like, how do I turn it down? Bro, this guy in the back right here, dude, I'm rocking with this guy, this normal ass dude. I love that. I love that so much. Dude, drop. Oh my god, dude. Remember when people used to actually fucking dance at the clubs? I mean, most of the events that I go to now are like gay or like goth adjacent, sort of. So I've never really experienced that much of that problem. But when I saw DJ Snake, I noticed it quite a bit. Like, oh my god, I've just been on this fucking gif of Madion taking off his shirt. I'm sorry. Moving on, anyways. Yeah, hey, dance at the club. You're not cool. Like, I'm sick of like people trying to fucking aura farm and be cool. Like, just fucking dance. Like, who cares if you end up in a fucking someone's TikTok? Like, who cares? I don't. I don't fucking care. You shouldn't either. Oh, dude, this blue is kind of like calling to me again. I think this might be the next color for me for a bit. She was so cool. I thought she was so sick. Yes, 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 yes. Actual babe. And this was like when I thought I was straight. Dude, Zed is the greatest person alive. I love that man. I know you love me. I love you, Zeddy Poo. I love you too, my not so worsten. Okay, this is just them saying I love you to each other. See, like see what I mean, man? It was about the love, bro. It was about the freaking love, dude. What happened to the love, man? We gotta bring back the love. Okay, maybe not this much love. Let's move on. Oh, we got ew. Boo. Boo. Creeper. And here we go. Okay, we're back to my first post. Okay, that was it. That was it, guys. That was my EDM blog. I hope you enjoyed. We'll go back to the main video. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you had as much fun as I did going down memory lane with me on tumblr.com. I guess next we can kind of talk about a little bit more about the controversies slash things that kind of eventually led to the downfall of the EDM fandom. I don't want to say downfall because it wasn't really a downfall. It was more of just like kind of a fizzling out, in my opinion. One thing that definitely kind of cut things off a little bit for me, like kind of a little bit of a hard cut off, the Deadmau5 F slur incident on Twitch. Basically, Deadmau5, he streams a lot. He's a gamer. He's a gamer guy. He was playing PUBG on stream, and he basically called someone the F slur, and he got banned from Twitch because of it. He kind of apologized, I guess. He kind of pulled the whole like, oh, I just said it in the heat of the moment and I didn't actually like mean anything by it. And like, he was kind of more upset that Twitch had double standards than anything really. And it was kind of a half, I don't want to say a half apology. It was a dead mouse apology. It was very much like, well, sorry, it was a heat of the moment, and Twitch for banning me, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that then say and have people call me homophobic because I'm not. And it's like, okay, you could have been a little bit nicer about it, but that said, mouse free, man. If you know him, you know him. That was kind of where I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Listen, I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but the roots of electronic dance music were very queer and very black and brown. If you look at the history of dance music, goes back to like disco, pretty, if you want to look at it more modern perspective, goes back to disco, club culture, dance music culture, so much of it has its roots, all of it has its roots, in queer, black, and brown culture. Okay, and that's just what it is. That you can't deny that. So as I was kind of getting a little bit older and learning more about the world and history and life, and my perspectives were starting to change, I kind of took a look at this fandom. I kind of took a look at this scene and was kind of like, oh, to kind of look at this movement that was originally started by, you know, marginalized communities be kind of taken over by straight white guys. It rubbed me the wrong way for a while, and I kind of just started to step away from it a bit, and I started to get a little bit more into like the underground, you know, less known stuff, less mainstream stuff, and I think I just found a little bit more of a home in that department than I did in this kind of made up fantasy fandom world of these men that, you know, a lot of them said that they weren't comfortable being shipped in the first place, which I respected, I ended up respecting down the line. That was a big part of it. If you've ever been to like a big rave, there's just so much misogyny. Maybe not as much anymore these days, but definitely like in the heat of the like spring breakers 2010s party era, these festivals were overrun with like dude bros who wanted nothing more than to sexually assault women. I'm sorry, just like that's the truth. In my experience going to raves, I can say that I was getting hit on the most when I was 12 through 15 years old, okay? Like, I almost got drugged when I was 15 by some guy who is very clearly like in his 30s, 20s, 30s. Thinking back on it, I think I kind of downplayed how kind of scary it got at times. It was kind of a hunting ground for straight guys, and I can kind of say that it still kind of is, unfortunately. A lot of these venues, a lot of these promoters, a lot of these the people who kind of run a lot of this scene, they don't give a fuck about that. The older I got, yeah, I wasn't really as into the music anymore, but that was also a big part of it for me personally. Going outside of my personal experience and more like into a collective thing, it just didn't have as much cultural relevancy, right? There is no Skrillex of the 2020s, right? I want to say too, looking through HARDFEST's YouTube page, there is a pretty clear divide pre and post pandemic, like the kind of content that they were putting out on their YouTube channel. Pre 2020, it was very skit heavy, very kind of fan base oriented, you know, the marshmallow and Jaws and it's a funny skit. And then 2020 happened, obviously, and I think that industry got hit pretty hard. Pretty hard because, I mean, you have these giant festivals. A lot of them happen at like, you know, during the summertime. There's a lot of people showing a lot of skin, people getting really close, people on drugs, making out, you know. And it's just interesting to see that like huge shift in like content, right? And I think during the pandemic kind of came the rise of like this more individualistic kind of the lone DJ, Twitch streaming their sets, you know. One thing that comes to mind for me was Andy Morin's B2Bs that he would do, like this big stream where a bunch of musicians would get together and, you know, have a stream, or the 100 Gex Kira Kira Bonito Minecraft Festival. Was that during 2020 or was that in 2019? I can't remember. But that was like, there was a lot of those things happening at that point that kind of pushed the culture less from like a collective friend group, squad kind of thing, and more towards loner in the club, you know, boiler room. I think that's why like the boiler room thing has kind of really blown up a little bit more over the years. Do I feel a resurgence coming? Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe that's why I felt like making this video. I don't know. I think I do feel like that there's going to be this kind of like resurgence of that within the next few years. I can talk about a little bit too, like my own experiences a little bit more. I have seen, let's see, out of the people that I mentioned in this video, I've seen a good chunk of them. I saw Skrillex, Deadmau5, Zed, Porter Robinson, and Maddion. Oh my god, I think I've seen the only DJ out of the main squad that I haven't seen was Dylan Francis. I've never seen Dylan Francis live. His music isn't really my thing personally, or it wasn't really my thing. I have seen Miha a handful of times. She always throws down a good set. One of the times that I saw her, I was at Meow Wolf, and I was on a lot of drugs, and I had the same hair color as Miha at the time. It was like an orange kind of red hair, and it was a little bit grown out, and I had because she had like a fashion brand, like a streetwear brand, and I was wearing one of her pieces, and there was this girl that was following me around, and I got so freaked out because I was obviously on a lot of drugs, and she was like following me around, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? And she comes up to me at one point and she was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I thought you were Miha, and I wanted to take a picture with you, but I realized that you're not Miha. I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's fine, it's okay, it's fine. You just only scared the fuck out of me. I thought you were trying to kill me. But that did boost my ego a little bit. I was like, you thought I was Miha? Really? Never seen Knife Party. Would love to see Knife Party one of these days. Oh my god, just like weird music crossover fact that always makes me feel so crazy when I like think about it, especially at the time. There was a time when Skrillex had gone to a Girl Pusher show, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? I remember he was on Instagram posting stories of him at this little Girl Pusher show. Like 5 people went to their show, and like it was like in some scary warehouse looking venue. And in some of his promo pictures that he did for his residency in Las Vegas at the time, he's wearing a Girl Pusher shirt. That I always have to bring that up every single time. I think that's it. I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. It was just, yeah, I don't know, the EDM fandom was weird, and it's crazy that it existed. It kind of still exists, but not nearly as much as it did anymore. I think too, just because fandom culture overall has just kind of been a little bit less of a thing, you know, especially when it comes to like RPF. There's a lot of discourse around RPF, which I don't want to get into. I'm not touching that. Oh my god, I forgot to mention too, this choker, I got it. This choker's like 10 years old, I think, and I still have it. Isn't that crazy? And it's in really good condition still. Like, I thought it would have broken on me at this point, or like, you know, like the plastic would have gone brittle, but it's actually like pretty solid. When the 2010s nostalgia is really kicking in and Gen Alpha is like really into that, like this kind of thing, I'm gonna sell this choker for like $40 on Depop 2. I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo! Yeah.